Alright guys, so now in this tutorial we're going to be working on the hood of the Audi R8 V10 Plus, and to begin the whole process we need a reference image. Alright, so let's go ahead and then split the view here, and then let's change this to the image editor, and let's load in the appropriate image we need. In this case we're going to be working on the hood, so we need something showing us the hood. So if you remember, in our previous modeling series we ended up using a lot of shrink wrap and a lot of subdivision surface. Now that is not going to be the same case in this one, even though the shrink wrap does help a lot if you want to keep things super smooth, and the subdivision surface also helps in some cases. But we're only going to be using a subdivision surface at level 1. That is, if you want to use the vehicle in a movie or in a video, you can go ahead and then use the subdivision at sub level 1 to help you achieve that quality that you want. But if you're going to be using this in a video game, I would recommend you get rid of the subdivision surface for this model we're going to be working on. Alright, so let's get into the front view now, and let's begin this. Okay, so in the front view, what we're going to do is to press Shift and A. First of all, let's make sure the cursor is in the world origin. So I'm going to press Shift and S and choose cursor to world origin. I'm going to press Shift and A and add in a mesh plane. So let's go into edit mode, press X, and then let's collapse the edges and faces so we have only one vertex here. So I'm going to press G and then Z and move this up to about the center of the line over here. And I'm going to extrude this in the right hand side all the way to this side and put it on the blueprint line right here. So let's go over to the top view now, and let's press G and then Y and move this all the way back to the blueprint line right here. It's this line right here, not the one behind it. So let's press G and then Y and move it to the center of the blueprint line. Now let's take this vertex here, press G and then Y and move this back all the way to that line on the back here. Now I'm just going to move this in the x-axis a bit more, and I'm going to go ahead and enable gizmo for these movements. Okay, so just this arrow just to help me move it in a smaller increment, and I'm also going to enable this for you guys so you can see what button I'm pressing. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and then press Ctrl and R, and then let's add in 7 loop cuts in between this edge, and let's move them one by one onto the blueprint line. Alright, so that looks good. Now we're going to take that whole edge and we're going to apply the loop tool space on this just to make sure the space in between them are equal. Alright, now let's get on and then let's get on to the front view and let's align this on the blueprint line accurately. Alright, so you can see that is matching the blueprint line from all sides, and now we can go ahead and then take this vertex here all the way to this one here. So just take this one, hold on Control and right click on this one. It should select that whole edge for you. And now let's get onto the side view. I'm going to press E to extrude this all the way down here. Okay, so let's zoom in and then press G and make sure the last vertex here is matching the blueprint line right here like that. Alright, now let's go over to the top view and let's make sure this vertex here is the active element. So just hold down Shift, right click on it twice to make sure it's the active element, and let's press period and let's change the pivoting point to active element. And I'm going to press S and then X and scale this in, and press S and then Y, scale it out. And let's press S and then X, scale it in, S and then Y, scale it out. And you can see what I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to make sure the last vertex here is matching the edge of the blueprint line we have going on over here. Alright, with that done, I'm going to take this, press G and move it to the edge here. Take this and move it to about the middle. Now let's take all of these three, press W, choose loop tools and choose space just to even out the space in between them. Now let's take these vertices and move them around as well. Alright, very nice. Now I'm going to take all of those as well, press W, choose loop tools and choose space. Now let's go over into the front view and make sure this is aligned in a Z axis. So we're going to do that real quick. Alright, so you can see that looks great. Let's get onto the right hand side and see if it matches, and you can see it matches very much well. Alright, so far this is what we have. Now what we're going to do is to press Ctrl and R to add in extra loop cuts. Now we're going to add in about 7 of them, so just press 7 on your numpad and then hit enter and then right click to keep it in place. Alright, now let's get onto the side view and let's take this first edge over here. We're going to press G and move that up until the last vertex here is falling on the blueprint line like that. And let's take the next edge, get onto the side view, press G, make sure it's falling on the blueprint line. So we're going to do that all the way to the top, making sure the space between them is close to even. Alright, so that looks great. It looks like the space between them are evenly spaced, but we have to make sure of that. So what we're going to do is to go into edge select mode, take all of those edges now, each and every single one of those edges, and then let's apply the loop tools on this. Okay, so loop tools and in space, just to make sure the spaces are equally evened out. Now let's change the markup. Let's make sure we are using this shiny markup right here. So just select this markup over here, and you can see the normals are flipped. So let's go into edit mode, take all of the faces and press shift and N to recalculate the normals. Alright, so that's looking great. Now we can click on object and select shade smooth to smoothing the surface. Now let's go ahead and then add in a mirror modifier. Alright, so that is looking good, and let's enable clipping for the mirror modifier just so the middle isn't moving around when we try to move it. Alright, so that looks great. Now the next thing we're going to do is to go over to the top view. Actually, before we go to the top view, I noticed that this edge over here is a little bit dipped in. So let's take this vertex here and take that one last, holding down control, and then let's just press S and then Z and then scale it down just a bit so it pulls out a bit than what we had it to be. As you can see, that fixes a bit of a trouble there, a problem there. Alright, so now let's go over to the top view and then let's go into edit mode. Let's take this vertex here, alright? So let's extrude it in the x-axis all the way to about this side. Let's get onto the side view. And then let's move this down in the z-axis a bit. And I'm going to extrude it in the y-axis all the way to this side to match this vertex here. And now let's go over to the top view and let's make sure it's following the blueprint line as much as possible. I'm going to extrude it for each and every one of those edges, that is each vertex for an edge, all the way down to the bottom. Alright, nice. So finally we're going to take this vertex and that one, and we're going to press F to fill the spaces in between them. Now what I'm going to do right now is to press K to enable the knife tool, and I'm going to cut this side from here all the way to down here just to add in a bit of a space in between them. So I'm going to leave it about here, and I'm going to press enter to confirm it. Alright, so I'm going to take these three now, and then let's delete the faces. So let's go in and then align each and every one of them with the blueprint line. So let me just pull this in the z-axis until it's in the middle of the blueprint line, like that. And we can take the next one and do the same thing, all the way to the right hand side. Alright, nice. So you can see that is matching very nicely. Now what I'm going to do is to take this vertex here and then the one all the way at this end, and let's press W, choose loop tools and choose space just to make sure the space in between them are equal. And let's take this one and then let's move it in the, let's slide it along that edge a bit, and let's take that vertex and the one down here one more time, and this time we're going to use loop tools on only those vertices, excluding the last one, to make it look much better. Alright, now I'm going to take these four vertices here and press F, and I'm going to take these two and press F all the way to the top. Okay, that is looking great. Now let's go over to the top view again, and I'm going to take this vertex. Let's press E and then extrude this all the way down here. Let's get onto the side view, and let's move this in the Z axis to match the blueprint line right here. Alright, that is looking great. And I'm going to press E to extrude this. Make sure each vertex go for an edge above it. I'm going to press E. We have one for this as well. Press E, extrude this for this, and just make sure they are matching as much as possible. Alright, even though that's not the equal amount, I'm just going to end it for now. We'll add the rest in later. So let me go over to the top view now. Let's move this in the x-axis to match the blueprint line, like that. Let me just move it in the y-axis a bit. And let me take this, move it in the x-axis as well. Take that, move that in the x-axis. Take this, we move it in the x-axis all the way to the top. Alright, nice. So let's get onto the side view and let's see how nice they're matching. Alright, that isn't bad, but we have about 8 vertices in here, whereas we have only 6 in the middle here. So let's add 2 more in the middle of them, and let's take that whole edge, press W, choose loop tools and choose space to even out the space in between them. Now let's align this even better. So let me press G on each of these vertices to move them in the center of the blueprint line, as you can see. Alright, that's good. Now let's go over to the top view, make sure they're aligned in the top view as well, which they are. And let's go ahead and then apply the loop tools one more time to this edge, just to make sure the spaces are equally spaced. Alright, so now we're sure they're equally spaced. We have to add in an extra edge in the middle of them. So let me press Ctrl and R in between this edge here to add in an extra vertex. I'm going to press G twice and then slide it down to about here. Don't let it get too close to the last vertex down here, just pretty close enough. And I'm going to press E and then extrude this to match these two edges here, just so it matches them in between it. And I'm going to extrude this to match this one right here as well. Extrude this to match the next one. Now let me extrude in this. Let me get to the top view so I can see this much better. So right now, this is where we have it. So let me take that whole edge, come on, from here to here. Let me get to the top view, and then align it in the top view for each and every single one of them. So let me just press G and move this here. Press G, move that one here. And now the blueprint line disappears, so we're gonna have to do this with our eyes. So we're gonna press E to extrude and then try to follow it as much as we can, drawing closer to the edge on the left as we get to the bottom, all the way to here. We're gonna extrude it one more time, all the way to down here, like this. Okay, so let me take this edge and then pull it out just a bit. And I want to take 1, 2, 3, 4, and actually let's align it on the left side first. I keep forgetting that. Alright, so I'm going to pull this down in the Z-axis to match the blueprint line down here. So we just have to put it in the middle of the blueprint line. And I'm going to do the same thing here, except there's no blueprint line for this, so we're going to have to eyeball this. So you can see on the reference image here, as it gets to the end of the hood, it kind of pulls out a bit. I mean, it kind of flattens. So we're just going to make sure this side is just a little bit lower than that edge, just a little bit lower. And I'm going to take this one next. Let's pull it down. That one is going to be even lower than the first one, like that. And I want to take the next one. It's also going to be even lower, so we can follow the next line below the white line, just to match this one's with it. That is this line right here. Just match the vertices with that line. Now let's take this one next, match it with it right there. And I'm going to take this one now, and you can see the blueprint line starts to appear again. So we can just match it with it, just like that. Alright, so what we're going to do now is to take that whole vertices, except for the one at the end, and we're going to press W, choose loop tools, and choose space, just to even out the spaces very nicely. Alright, now I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, and press F, and I'm going to take these two and press F all the way to the end there. Alright, so you can see that is looking quite good, not bad at all. Okay, nice. So now we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4 and press F over here as well, and take these two and press F all the way to the last one here. But I don't like the way they are slanting way too much as they get to this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one and then slide it forward to about somewhere here. Let me get to the side view. Yeah, so I'm just going to slide it forward to about somewhere here. And I want to take this one as well, slide it forward to about there. Let me get to the top view so I can see this much better. Alright, now let me align it in this view as well. And there we go. Alright, so I'm going to take this vertex, take that one, press W, choose loop tools, and choose space. Alright, just to even out the space. Let me just take this and then slide it back in here like this. Alright, nice. So we didn't apply loop tools to this edge over here, just to the one down here. And we're good. Alright, now let me get onto the side view or to the front view. And let's take a look at this. Alright, not bad. Let me take the whole thing, press G. And then let me move it up in the Z-axis just a bit. Just a bit more. Alright, good. Okay, so now we can take this vertex here, this vertex right here, and let's get onto the side view and then extrude this in the Z-axis to follow the blueprint line down here. And let's get onto the top view and make sure it is matching in the top view as well. Nice. Alright, now we're going to extrude this in the Y-axis direction all the way to this side. Go over to the top view and let's match it again. Very nice. Get onto the side and we're going to extrude this all the way to the side right here. Let me just move it on top of the blueprint line, and again we're going to match it in the top view just like that. And then we're going to extrude it one more time to this axis right here, all the way to the front blueprint right here, and we're going to align it in the front view all the way to that side. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to add in about 2 loop cuts in the middle here. You're going to know why we added in 2 loop cuts, so just add in 2 loop cuts in that area. And let's take this and let's press G and align it with the blueprint line on the top, and also here, right here. Just bring them into the middle of the blueprint line, and let's make sure they are aligned in the top view as well. So I'm just going to move this as well, like this. Alright, I think that is looking good. Yeah, so now let's get onto the side view, and what I'm going to do is, let me take this vertex right here, okay, and then this one last. And let's see how many vertices we have. We have about 7 of them, so let's insert 7 vertices in between these 2 vertices. So Control and R, and then type in 7, and then confirm that. Alright, so now we're going to move this around the blueprint line right here, just to follow that line very nicely, all the way to the other side. Alright, very nice. Now we're going to take all these edges here and then apply the loop tools to this, just to make sure the space in between them are evened out. Now let's go over to the top view and then align them on the blueprint line in the top view as well. All right, very nice. So I think they're aligned on both sides now, so we should be good. Let me just get to the front view and make sure they are, which they are. All right, so now I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4 and then press F, and I'm going to take these two and press F all the way to the front to about this side right here. Now I'm going to add in one more vertex in here. Let's go to the top view and then align it with the blueprint line like that, and let's get onto the side view and let's pull it, oh, let's just keep it there, and let's take these 4 here and press F, and then take these 2 and press F. Alright, now let's get on over here. Let me go into the front view. I'm going to add in about 3 loop cuts in the middle here. So let's add in 3 loop cuts in the middle here like this, and you can see that is looking great. Now let me get onto the front view again, and if you take a look here, you can see this area here bulges out a bit. So that's what we're going to achieve right now by pressing Alt and then S, and we're going to shrink this out like this until it falls on the blueprint line very nicely like that. So just press Alt and S to do that, and you're good to go. Now we're going to go into edge select mode and select those 3 edges again, this time in edge select mode, and we're going to deselect the edges in the front all the way to about here, I think. I'm going to press X and dissolve those edges. Alright, now I'm going to press Ctrl and R in here and then add in those 3 edges again, just to make sure the edges towards the end are bulged out like the one on the left. So now let's take each of these 2 vertices and let's press J to join them one by one. Alright, very nice. So I think that area is looking great now. Now let's get onto the front view, and we have to align these vertices with the front view. So I'm just going to move this in the Z axis, move this in the Z axis, and finally we're going to move this as well in the Z axis, just like that. I'm just going to slide them a bit just to make sure they match their direction, just like that. And now let's get over to the top view, make sure they're aligned in the top view as well. So we're just going to move them in the Y axis a bit more. Alright, very nice. So I think they are very much aligned, very nice looking. And now let's get onto the top view, and then let's add in that sharp edge over here now. So let me go into edit mode and let's press Ctrl and R through here, press E, and then align it with the one on the left and pull it quite close, not too close, but just like that amount you're seeing here. And let's do the same thing on the left side. Press Ctrl and R and press E and then F to align it with it and pull it as close as you can. And yeah, that should look great. So you can see that adds in that sharp edge for us, and that is looking really good. So I think this is the point where we can add in a subdivision surface to see how this is looking. So we're just going to add in a subdivision surface at level 1. So I'm just going to keep the render at level 1, but you can go higher if you want. It's your own preference. And now let's get on over here. So I'm going to take these 2 and press F. Alright, very nice. So now what I'm going to do now is to press Ctrl and R through here, add in 2 edges in the middle here, and let's get onto the front view. I'm going to press Alt and S to shrink this out to match the blueprint, as we can see over there, just like that. And I think that should be good. And I'm going to press Ctrl and R through here to add in 2 extra loop cuts or vertices, and I'm going to press G and then move these out to fall on the blueprint line very nicely. I'm going to move this out as well to about there. Let me move them out a bit more, and then let's make sure the spaces in between them are equal by using the loop tool space. Alright, now I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4 and press F. Take these 2 and press F. And what I'm going to do now is let's go ahead and add in an extra loop cut in here, because we go to the side view, you can see once it gets over here it just straightens out. So we're going to add in an extra loop cut in the middle here by pressing Ctrl and R, and then left click and then right click to keep it in place. And I'm going to press G twice, press E and then F to align it with the one below, and I'm going to move it quite close to it to about some point like that. And I'm going to deselect all of these ones, and I'm going to press G and move it up to about this side just to match it very nicely like that. Alright, now I want to take the rest of the vertices here, and then paying attention to this vertex, I'm just going to press G and move it to the middle of the blueprint line like that. Alright, so that is looking great. Now the final thing we have to do is to take all of those vertices again, make sure this is the active element, and let's get onto the top view right here. Okay, so I'm going to share this out in the Y axis. So press Ctrl Alt Shift and S and then Y to share this in the Y axis, and just pull it out a bit like that. So just share it a bit like that, just to make sure that area is more rounded, as you can see, very nicely like that, just to make it look way much better, because you can see it was flat here, and then just sharing it made it look a bit more round, but I think it's a bit too extreme. So let's dial it down a bit, just like that. Alright, so I think that should look great. It does look great. Alright, so now let's get over here. I want to take 1, 2, 3, 4 and press F, F, and then we're going to take these two and press F one more time. Alright, that looks great. So now let's get onto the front view. And then what I'm going to do in the front view is I'm going to press Ctrl and R through here, press E to align it with the right hand side, and pull it as close as you can to create this edge we're seeing here. And I'm going to take this one now, and then let me just pull it away, a bit away from this one. I'm going to press G and move it up in the Z axis. G and then Z, to match the blueprint line like that. And let's get onto the top view and make sure it is matching in the top as well. So I'm going to move it in the Y axis a bit back, just like that. I think that is looking good. Let me just draw it in a bit because I think it's way too far behind. Just like that. And let's take a look at it in the front view. Pull it in the Z axis a bit. And I want to take the whole thing now, except for this one. I'm going to press Alt and S just to shrink it out just a bit, not too much. Alright, now let's get onto the back here, and you can see things are getting too congested in the back here. So I'm going to deselect all of the vertices except for the last three you're seeing here, and I'm going to dissolve that edge. So now I'm going to take this vertex here and this vertex here and press J to join it. I'm going to take that vertex and slide it towards the edge a bit more, like that. Alright, very nice. So now what I'm going to do here is to take this one now, that's this vertex here, and then this one, and I'm going to press M to merge it at the last, like that. And I'm going to take this one and then that one, merge it at the last, like that. And I'm going to take that last vertex down here and then dissolve that edge, just to make that area look more rounded and not sharp, just like that. Alright, so I think that is looking great. Now we can go over to the front view again and then add in one more edge over here. Press E and then F to align it with the top. Pull it as close as we can, like that. And I'm going to take this one now, press G twice and then slide it down. And I'm going to move it in the X axis to about here. And let me get onto the side view. I'm going to pull it in the Y axis to about there. And that should be good. Alright, very nice. So you can see even with that, it's not really following the blueprint line. So if you want to add in an extra loop cut, you can go ahead and then do that and then move things around to make this one look much more better. But I'm just going to keep mine as it is. I'm going to leave it like that. But you can go ahead and add it in if you want. Alright, so I think that is looking good. Let's take a good look at it. But before we actually proceed, just like we did with the one on the left, I'm going to take this one as well and press Alt and S and then just shrink it out a bit. Let me take a look at it from the top here. And then we're just going to shrink it out just a tiny bit, like that. Alright, so I think that is looking good. Alright, very nice. Alright, so let me get onto the side view now. And I'm going to take this vertex here, extrude it in the Y axis all the way to about here. I want to extrude it all the way here again. Yeah, just put it on the blueprint line. Take these two and then press F. And I'm going to add in 7 extra loop cuts in the middle, that is vertices. And I'm going to press G and then align it from the left to right on the blueprint line. Alright, nice. So now we're going to apply the loop 2 space on this, just to make sure the spaces in between them are equal, just like that. Alright, now I'm going to take this vertex and that one, and I'm going to press, make sure this is the active element, and make sure your pivoting point is set to active element. And let's press S and X and type in 0, just to make sure they are on the same location in the X axis. And I'm going to do the same thing for this one as well. S and then X, type in 0. And now I'm just going to take this and then take this last, and I'm going to press Shift and R to repeat the command. And I'm just going to do that all the way to the end right there. So you can see the vertices moving as we scale it or repeat the action. Alright, just like that. I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4 and then press F. Take these two and press F all the way to the end there. Alright, so I think that is looking great. Now let's get onto the side view here. And what I'm going to do is I am going to take this vertex here and then hide it. I'm going to press Ctrl and R through here, add in a vertex, press E, and then F to align it with the one below it. And then pull it as close as you can, not too close, just like that. And I'm going to press Alt and H to bring everything back. And I'm going to use the knife tool to knife this from here, all the way to the bottom. And I'm going to take these two vertices. First of all, let me slide this a bit, like that. I'm going to take these two now, press M, and then choose at last. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Alright, now I'm going to press Ctrl and R again, add in an extra loop cut here, press E and then F to align it with the top. And let's pull it as close as we can, just like that. Alright, so you can see that is looking great. Now let me get onto the side view. Let's add in another loop cut here, press E and then align it with the one below and then pull it as close as you can, like that. And I'm going to get over here, I'm just going to use the knife tool and then cut an edge from here, because if we try adding it in, it's not going to go in anywhere. So we have to cut this out. So let's just press K. And then let's cut it from here all the way to this side. Now let's press space or enter to confirm it. Now I'm going to take these two, press M, and merge it at the, I'm not sure, let's merge it at the last, alright, like that. And I'm going to take these two as well, and I'm going to merge it at the last, just like that. Alright, so you can see everything is looking so good. Everything is looking good. And now what I'm going to do is to do the exact same thing over here. So we're going to knife this from here all the way to this side, like this. Let me just press enter, and I think it's way too close, so let's do that again. Let's knife it again from here all the way to there, like that. Alright, so I think that is looking good. Now I'm going to take this and then that, and I'm going to merge it at the last, just like that. And I think that's the only one that needs merging. Yeah, so that is looking great. I'm going to press Ctrl and R through here. That doesn't go all the way through, so we're going to use the knife tool again. So let's just press K, and then let's press the knife tool, K for the knife tool. And then let's left click here, and then cut it all the way to the top. And make sure you press Z on your keyboard to make sure that the knife is cutting through the whole mesh to avoid any problems. So we're just going to click here and then press enter to confirm it. And I'm going to take that whole edge, and I'm going to press G twice, and then press E, and then F to align it on the one with the one on the right, and pull it as close as we can, just like that. Alright, so I think that is looking good. That is looking good. Alright, very nice. Now let's get an over here as well, and I'm going to take this one here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this one right here, this one. I'm going to hide that. I'm going to press Ctrl and R through here to add in a lookup, press E and then F to align it with the one on the top like that. I want to do the same thing over here, E, and then align it with that one like that. Now let's press Alt and H to bring everything back, and I'm going to take these two and press M, and we're going to merge it at the center. Now I'm just going to move it around a bit just to make sure it is looking good. Alright, so one more area we have to add in a supporting edge loop is the front here. So we're just going to press Ctrl and R and press E and then F to align it with the one below and pull it as close as we can. Not too close, just close enough. And I'm going to take a look over here. I'm going to press Alt and S and then shrink it out just a bit like that. Just a bit, not too much. Just to make sure it follows the curvature very nicely. Alright, so I think that is looking great. We can go ahead and then change the matte cap and then see how this is looking. So let's go ahead and then change the matte cap real quick. And let's take a look at how this looks. Alright, so this is a shiny reflective matte cap, and you can see that is looking really, really good everywhere. Very, very nice. Alright, so now we can go ahead and then apply, let me change the matte cap real quick back to the silvery one. And we can go ahead and then apply the solidify to this mesh right here. So let's add in a solidify modifier, and we're only going to keep it around the rim. Okay, so we're going to enable even thickness, and we're going to enable high quality, and we're going to enable only rim. Alright, just like that. So it adds it only to the rim, not the whole mesh. And I'm going to apply the solidify modifier to this. And let's go into edit mode and fix any problems that may have given us. So I think all this side is pretty good. So let's go on to this side right here. This side is also pretty good. So let's move on to this side. Let's take a look at this side. All these sides are good. Let's take a look at this side. Alright, so we have to move this side around a bit. So I'm just going to press G twice to slide this. Let me take a look. Alright, so let's just press G twice and then slide it up. Take this, the one in the middle here. Press G twice and then let's slide that up a bit. Take this and then slide that down just a bit. Alright, very nice. Now let's go all the way up here. And let's take this, slide it down a bit like that. Take this, slide it forward, just like that. Alright. So I think those are the only areas with the issues. Now we can go ahead and add in another solidify modifier. And we're going to enable only rim, enable high quality, and enable even thickness. Alright, good. Now we can go ahead and then apply this solidify here as well. And you can see already we spotted a problem here. So let's go ahead and then fix it like that. Alright, that's the first side. Let's go into the next side. I think this side is looking good. No problems here. I'm just going to move this around a bit just to make sure the space is enough. And I'm going to move this around as well, because you can see they are way beyond their limits. And let's take a look up here. I think all that is good. And we have an issue here as well. So I'm just going to slide it back and then slide it in there. Well, let me take this next, slide it out like that. And let me zoom into this area. And let's slide this back as well, just like that. Alright. So I think that'll pretty much do it, but we have some issue in the middle here. So what we're going to do is to select all of those vertices in the middle there, excluding these ones here. Okay, so just the ones in the middle. I'm going to press X and delete the faces, just to get rid of that issue we have in the middle there. Alright. So I think that is looking great. Now let me just take this one because it's not merging in the center. So I'm just going to move it in the x-axis to make sure it merges in the center like that. Let's see if we have the same issue here too. Yeah, so we're going to take this, move it in the x-axis to merge in the center like that. Alright, so I think that is looking great. Final thing we can do is to press Ctrl and R through the middle here. So let's just press Ctrl and R through the middle here, add in 2 loop cuts, and then let's just press Alt and S, and then let's shrink it out a bit to about that extent. I don't know if that is too much. It might actually be too much. Yeah, so let's do that again. So we're going to press Alt and S and then shrink it out. Not too much, just something small, and I think that is pretty good. Alright, so you can see that is looking really good. We can go ahead and take a look at it in the reflective markup again just to see how cool it looks. And you can see this looks really good. Really good. So one thing I forgot we should do, let's get into edit mode real quick here. Okay, so let me just get over to the top view here, and I want to press Ctrl and R through this edge here, left click and then right click to keep it in place, and I want to deselect all of these ones, including these, or excluding that one, include this one as well, and let's dissolve those edges all the way to the left. And I want to take this vertex now and that one, and I want to press J to join it. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I want to take all of the vertices from here to here, all of those vertices there, and let's get onto the front view. And what we're going to do, you can see the blueprint is not matching here, so what I'm going to do is going to press Ctrl, Alt, Shift, and S, and then X to share it. Or first of all, let's scale this in the X-axis, so just press S and then X, and then scale it in the X-axis just a bit. And I want to press Ctrl, Alt, Shift, S, and then Y, and then share this up in the Y-axis just like that. And that's pretty much it, just to round that area a bit more and then make it look better and follow the blueprint as much as possible. Alright, so now we can go ahead and check this with a car paint. So I'm going to load in a car paint just to see how this looks. Alright, so you can see right here this looks actually really good in car paint, and that's what we're looking to achieve. So yeah, job well done, very nice work. Alright, so in the next video we're going to be moving on to the front bumper and see how we can tackle that area as well. Alright, so I'll see you guys in the next video.